Hey everyone, welcome tonight or today, wherever you are. Try medicine Buddha practice. I know it's startling to see me in the room on time, but who am I if I don't surprise you at least once in a while? But yeah, welcome to those who are new. Um, to our gathering. Um, if you would like to, if you're new, just saying hello. Um, and if you have joined us before, welcome back. Go ahead and start putting any prayer requests in um, that you'd like for me to offer in the practice. Um, so yeah, and just letting people come into the space, getting set up and so forth. Again, if you're new, welcome. If you're brand new, this is a guided practice based on the teachings and lineage of Medicine Buddha. And so there are, it's like we have 22 sessions. So we've had 22 sessions on this platform since we moved from Zoom. So all these sessions are recorded, and so you can go back. Actually, I've been going back and watching, some of the sessions as well this year. Um, I do appreciate actually listening to myself, listening to talks um, that I've given in the past because I am a student as well, and so I think it's important for me and and this is for I guess anyone who's a teacher or some sort instructor for you to go back and to listen, to your talks. If you're a new teacher, doing something, no matter what it is, it's so important that you record yourself. Record yourself and always go back and listen to the recordings because that's really such an important way to grow as a teacher in something. Even though for many of us that can be excruciating to listen to us, to ourselves. And I remember at the beginning of my teaching, I would go back and listen, to talks and everything, and I would be like, oh my God, that sounds so gay, right? I'm like, oh, I'm so gay, and interesting enough, I sounded gay, really gay, um, in my talks because I I am gay. So even though like being gay doesn't mean you sound like anything in particular, but I sound real sassy, you know. Um, I throw a few lisps here and there. But I do, I do sound a little sassy. Um, so yeah, and I had to move through that. But anyway, that's all I'm saying is that go back again, listen to the recordings of the practices. It's such a great form of just a great resource to be here. But anyway, as you're coming into the room again, if you have any prayer requests, go ahead and put those into the chat. Um, if you're new, just say hello to the space as well, and we're gonna get started. I want to do a nice long practice tonight, and of course, every time I say I want to do a nice long practice, it turns into a nice long talk. Um, but I do want to practice. Practices, and again, extremely important. Um, but it's always important to put everything into context. So this is why I tend to talk a little more these days. Um, Everyone's so many people are back from retreat. Lama Justin is back from his 7 week retreat. It really just flew by. I was like, oh my god, it's been 7 weeks. 2 months now. You know, um, so it's good to have him back. It's good to have all our friends back from Peru, practicing with Spring Washam down in Peru. A couple members of the Sangha was down there. Yeah. So let's see tonight. So it looks like people are coming in. This is about the time I roll in. So um, I used to when I you know back in that other world when we used to do all of our teaching in person. Those many years ago. It seems like I would teach and at this place in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Natural Dharma Fellowship, which some of you may have used to join me there. And I would always like sashay in, kind of late, you know. But if I was like 10 or 15 minutes late, they would send out a search party for me. Um, and then like once, so this practice began at 7, right? And I remember one day I came like at 6:55 or something. I was seated and ready to go at 6:55, and then like 15 minutes later, these people, everyone, a bunch of people started rolling in, and then someone was like, we have become accustomed to you showing up late, so we've adjusted our arrival, you know, to just barely meet you, um, to beat you into the meditation hall. It's a compliment because people really, people know you, they pay attention to you. um, Happy Pride, everyone. Um, Here in Atlanta, um, we don't celebrate Pride until October, um, which is still fun because it's still hot as hell in October. Um, so, but our Pride, Black Pride, is next month, and in August, and then full regional Pride, which is what Atlanta really is. It's regional Southeast Pride is in October on National Coming Out weekend. So, um, but I will be actually, um, I will be um, one of the featured speakers, I guess, for the UK Black Pride, which is happening next month as well. Um, so I'm excited about that. I've literally have never been invited to do anything in any pride. um, but leave it to the British to get me involved and stuff. Um, so I'll be doing that, and there'll be more details if you look at my website, do my newsletter. We'll be sending out word about when I'll be offering a talk for Black Pride in UK. So anyway, any other prayer requests? Go ahead and jot those down if you want before we get really started. All right. Tonight there is in terms of our practice, um, there is a within um, within the Medicine Buddha Tantra and the basic practice of Medicine Buddha. There's a particular visualization in the practice um, where we imagine these tiny um, medicine Buddhas, right? These tiny medicine Buddhas raining down um, over us. And then we begin to absorb those tiny Buddhas into our bodies. Um, I just, again, I really love that visualization. So you're just like soaking in, drinking in these tiny Buddhas, and they begin to, to heal you, so forth, bring you back into balance. Um, so I wanted to do a variation on that practice as well. Um, I think that would be fun. I'm developing this kind of particular practice around like water and earth and dissolving, into the earth, letting the earth heal you and take care of you, then you reemerge. Um, having let go of a lot of suffering, and so forth. And I'm working on that right now. I'm not quite ready to offer that, but this is kind of the practice I hope to do tonight. Is going to be very much reminiscent around that. I just, I say hope because as soon as I open my mouth and start teaching, something else could happen. Um, Other things begin to take over, right? And we head off in another direction, and I say, oh, great, you know. Um, just like yesterday in the Tara practice, I was supposed to be practicing Tara and Mahamudra, and just turned into a 2-hour talk about everything, which is really how I move through the world. In terms of teachings, I just kind of talk about everything. What's happening, that's what I'm talking about. Okay? So, just like one more minute for prayers to kind of come in. And you don't have to offer a prayer request. The prayer, whatever aspiration or need or hope that you're having for yourself, for others around you, you can just kind of keep that in your mind, right? And that's a really, really powerful way to offer prayer. It's just to bring that prayer, that aspiration into consciousness. This is what I want to see and need to see for the world, for myself, for my communities, and so forth, for the earth, and so forth. And we've been talking a lot about stillness as well. And I want us to, do what we can to start connecting to that experience of stillness. And the experience of stillness isn't about the absence of sound. It's not about being quiet or silent. Stillness is about how do we, through our awareness, begin to connect to this essential nature of everything, which is why I call the stillness. That experience where everything, we just let everything be in its place. Being that's the first stage of Mahamudra, the first stage of mindfulness, shamatha, shanae practice. Hopefully that covers all of the traditions that many of us are coming out of. But that first, as I talked about yesterday, the first mastery, which is the mastery of allowing everything to be. Once we allow everything to be, then the stillness, begins to become apparent. And these are all just words and concepts and phrases, and as someone who was also very confused at the beginning of my practice, when I would listen to my teachers and mentors and elders talk about, these very technical experiences of mine, I would just be like, I have no idea, what stillness is, the nature of mind. I have no idea what any of this is. But what was promised to me was that over time, I would develop an experience of these things, of these states, and of these qualities. And that was something that I had to earn through practice, right? It's just stuff that I have to earn, right? And so I mentioned that because we started this spot as we began our practice, and we're like, oh, I don't know what this is, it's not my experience. But knowing that experience can only be revealed to us through diligence and effort and consistent practice, right? It's beginning again, over and over again, beginning again, right? Beginning again, begin again, right? And what we're doing in terms of beginning again right now is just returning back to what's happening right now, just in our minds, to the thoughts, to the emotions, noticing everything arising in our minds, all the frustrations, all the worries, the anxieties, the fear, as well as the joy, happiness, the contentment, the fear. And name these things. To go through and just name and say, oh, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's the shame, right? Naming, noting, right, what's arising for us. So again, beginning to see what's in our minds, beginning to name what we're seeing, letting go. Once you name it, you let it go. You know, and then we begin to see everything that's arising for us, that's happening within our own minds. This is this is happening. My whatever I'm sensing and noticing, it's happening in my mind. We say my mind, we recognize that it's happening in our minds because we need to have agency in order to eventually really push into this project, this work of liberation and freedom. I can't get free from the material of my mind if I don't first understand that I have the agency to be in whatever relationship I choose to be with my mind. So everything arises within my mind, and therefore I have this agency now to work with this material that's in my mind. And then there's the allowing everything to be there. That means we're watching, we're noticing, we're not reacting. And so in that non-reactivity, we enter into the space of experience. So we begin to experience what's happening in our minds. And so the experiencing of our minds, particularly the experiencing of, emotions and thoughts within the mind, this experiencing is is how we enter into the doorway of spaciousness. So this is how we begin to develop an experience of space, is through experiencing, whatever material there is to experience. And to experience and not react. So the experience itself is the feeling, right? It's the noticing of how energy is moving through the mind, but as well as through the body. This experiencing and how this non-reactivity to experiencing, how that begins to open the door to spaciousness. This stepping into spaciousness, this is the birth of the deity right here. I would say one of the ways the deity is born in our experience is through this thing of experiencing, allowing this non-reactivity to experience, to open us into spaciousness. That opening into spaciousness is the awakening of the deity here, of any deity within Tantric Buddhism, right? From Chenrezig and Tara and Medicine Buddha, in our case tonight, all the way through Mahakala, and Paul and Lama, and so forth and so on, right? When we're entering into space through experience, then it can feel disorienting. It could feel unstable, right? Because we haven't really become acclimated to space. Because what we really do every day is just contract and shut down around the sense of self and ego. We want to live, we find comfort in living within shutting down, within the numbness within the constrictions. And then we start entering into space right through the practice. And then we say, oh, what the hell is this? You know? And where's the deity, right? Where's the guru? Where's the, whatever, we feel aligned to, like, where's God, right? Where's Christ? Where's the sacredness here? This is the space is the sacredness, is the divine. This is the divinity is the space within Tantric Buddhism. And the space, yes, it's empty, but it's also filled with this incredible potential, this energy that actually we can see as we can relate to as light, illumination, also, as we would say in Tibetan Buddhism. Or it could be warmth. It's the warmth from which all phenomena arises. It is the deity. It is our minds. I call it potentiality or suchness. Suchness is still another classic term, but it's potential. The essence, when we get into the essence of things, we're getting into this fundamental, primordial potential from which everything arises. Everything in the phenomenal world arises from this potentiality, this basic energy, the suchness that evades emptiness. And again, this space, this potentiality, everything is the arising of the deity here. So I want to continue by actually chanting our first mantra, which is Om Minla Sangye Kino Soha, which we haven't done in a while, but Om Minla Sangye Kino Soha. And again, it means, Minla Sangye means medicine Buddha in Tibetan. Kino is a word that means to think of. So basically it's a mantra that says, medicine Buddha, please think of me. And of course, in our tradition, in this space, we can translate Kino into whatever phrase we need it to be. So if it's it can be think of me, it could be know me, medicine Buddha, please know me, medicine Buddha, please come here, medicine Buddha, please be present. This is an expression of devotion. So in this space, when I chant this within the space of just really just experiencing and just really opening to the space, when I chant this, I am evoking this potentiality, this energy, this fundamental primordial energy from which all existence arises. I am just evoking it to really kind of express this awakened consciousness, which is this awakened consciousness in this case, is medicine Buddha. So as we begin to chant the mantra, just noticing what arises for you. Even if you're brand new, given what you know about medicine Buddha and why you came here, just noticing what happens. You can sit and listen to the chanting as well. You don't have to chant it with me, but what happens? What's being evoked? And for those of you who are really well down this path of deity practice and and so forth, really begin to imagine, that as we chant this, that medicine Buddha emerges, appears, and noticing how medicine Buddha appears for you, and in what way. Alright, so let's begin. Minla Sange Kino Soha. Minla Sange Kino Soha. Om 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 Minla Sange Kino Soha. And to also begin to hum it as well. Humming is such a powerful practice with mantras as well. So just hum it a little bit to yourself as well. So as we prepare to move deeper into the practice, I would like to offer our prayer requests from our community. As always, I evoke the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, all the protectors of our lineages, all benevolent beings, all benevolent ancestors, guardian spirits, angels, all deities that are here in this reality to help, to benefit, to liberate. I call your attention to these prayer requests, these aspirations, these needs and wants from our community. And I ask you to move on our behalf to create the change that we most need to see. And as we listen to the prayer requests too, we also, in whatever way feels appropriate, we begin to empathize with those requests that are being offered, with the passings and the sicknesses, right? Then we touch into the needs of those who are being prayed for, and then we just kind of offer, like, whatever we've touched into, whatever it may be, fear, right, anxiety, whatever we've touched into for ourselves and for the prayer request, we just kind of offer back into the spaciousness, into the space which we've evoked Medicine Buddha and the consciousness of Medicine Buddha to arise in. So we let go and we offer it back into Medicine Buddha, which again is this experience of space. So tonight we offer prayers for Ted Parcell, who entered the Bardo last Wednesday morning. and for his wife Julie, and their extended families and friends. Offering prayers for our beloved cat, Kumari, who is suffering. She is 14 years old. She is 14 years old and 8 pounds. And we're racing home to take care of her. We're offering prayers for my daughter's dog, Emmy, who was 14 and a half and was just put down today, and for my daughter and son-in-law, Hollister and Andy, and their sadness. For Kelly Cross, recovering from heart surgery, Van Krana and Aviva Keller, and myself, sad and concerned about so many losses. We're offering prayers for the many grieving families of Indigenous children continuing to be found in unmarked graves near former residential schools across northern Turtle Island in Canada. We're offering prayers for those healing from childhood sexual abuse. We're offering prayers in terms of learning how to help the generations after me to embody the knowledge of my pre-colonial ancestors and how to move with time instead of against it. Offering prayer for the plants and their pollinators, prayer for those with broken hearts. Offering prayers for Curtis and Melissa, prayers for rest and balance. We're offering prayers for all those that transitioned to the Bardo this week. We're offering prayers for my mom's leg pain. May she regain mobility and have ease in her healing process. Prayers also for my transition time on FMLA. May my time off of work bring healing and restoration, as well as insight into where my path will lead me next, whether back to work or into something else. May my path lead me and all of us to liberation. Offering prayers for my sister and me as we try to grow and heal and find peace between us. We're offering prayers for Roberta, whose leg is broken, for Daisy, who is having trouble with the onset of menses, and for Jeff, who needs multiple eye surgeries. Offering prayers for my friend Mario and his grandma, Danya Chela, who passed away this morning. Prayers for BL, BS, and housing. Offering prayers for all unhoused and unsheltered folks suffering in the heat of my region within the Pacific Northwest. Offering prayers for all living beings in our Pachamama suffering through the heat and all the weather alterations on the planet. May we each do what we can to care for our earth, more just as she cares for us every day. We're offering prayers for Maggie Monroe, who is struggling in her 90s with failing health and confusion. We're offering prayers for Mother Earth, that humans will wake up to how we are creating huge problems for life on Earth. Offering prayers for Dove, who is being treated for breast cancer. Offering prayer for Luce, who had surgery today for ovarian cancer. And offering prayers for David Green, and Ramona Cooper, who were killed on Saturday by white supremacists, and for Hunter Britton, a teenager who was killed by a sheriff's deputy. I continue to offer prayers for all beings passing into the bardo of the spirit world and realm in this moment, for all earthbound spirits and beings wanting to move on, to transition into their next state of being, that all beings may be liberated from places they do not want to be in. I continue to offer prayers for all beings and all the worlds and all the times, both past, present, and the future, who struggle with systematic violence, who struggle with gathering the resources they need to be well and happy for themselves and for their loved ones. I continue to pray for balance, for compassion, for love, for a deep return back to ways of being that are less violent, less domineering, and more authentic and grounded in love. And in the spirit of the Medicine Buddha teachings that all beings are free from violence, from harm, from famine, free from the abuse of power, that we all may be healed, and that our descendants may also be healed. Offering all of these prayer requests into the spaciousness of the awakened space, which is the consciousness of Medicine Buddha. We let go. And we offer that whatever we've prayed for, even those prayers that remain unspoken, that everything will be as it should be. As we continue deeper into the practice, I invite you to imagine that above your heads, we begin to imagine all the beings that love us, who want us to be well, who are protecting us. All these benevolent beings that we're connected to as protectors, guides. They begin just to fill the space above our heads. When you're ready, I invite you to imagine that all these beings above us begin to radiate, or they begin to radiate this white, soft light. So it's as if the space above us begins to glow. And all these beings dissolve into the white light. And this white light begins to form, come together, and begins to form the healer above our heads. And again, the healer is this archetypal being, this representation of healing for us, particularly the representation of the being whom we rely on for healing. So this can be Medicine Buddha, the image of Medicine Buddha above your head. It can be any other healer, or teacher, or guide, or ancestor, or deity, or spirit that for you represents healing. So imagine that that healer begins to emerge above our heads. You don't have to see anything clearly or have any particular experience, but just a sense that something's happening. And once this transformation of the healer seems complete for you, I want you to again imagine that this healer begins to radiate with this white light. And they begin to dissolve in this white light above our heads. And this white light begins to really form into this image of clouds, but like not regular storm clouds, but white, light, radiant clouds above our heads. And this is preparing the rain of blessing. And slowly we begin to imagine that above our heads, it begins to rain these drops of white, radiant raindrops, but they're drops of energy, of healing. And it's like a downpour, really. And instead of getting wet, this energy begins to just fall into our bodies. This energy of light and healing and love, compassion and balance just begins to fall into my body, and my body begins to absorb this rain of blessing, this rain of healing. And we can imagine that this rain, this energy begins to first collect in the parts of our bodies that maybe we're struggling with in terms of healing and health and wellness. And slowly we begin to imagine that our whole bodies begin to be filled with this light, this energy of healing. Just letting this rain of light and healing just completely saturate us, completely fill us up, and just letting go, and just allowing ourselves to be really deeply watered by this energy of healing. And even further, we can ask ourselves right now in the practice, where am I thirsty? Where do I need to deeply drink? And allowing this rain, this energy to fall into that thirst and to begin to fill that thirst and to quench that thirst. And doing this kind of work as we begin moving into our mantra practice. Teyata bekense maha bekense rasa sumangate soha. O teyata bekense 백은세 마백은세 라스수문가 제수아 제야정 백은세 백은세 마백은세 라스수문가 제수아 제야정 백은세 백은세 마백은세 라스수문가 제수아 제야정 백은세 백은세 마백은세 into the last part of our mantra practice, we begin to imagine that this rain of blessing actually begins to rain within the situations and the lives of those we've offered prayers for tonight. So imagine this just rain of light and blessing and healing and love just begins to pour down in and around those we've offered prayers for tonight. 오태야 정배은세 배근세 바배근세 라스 숨은 같았소아 태야 정배은세 배근세 마배근세 라스 숨은 같았소아 태야 정배근세 배근세 마배근세 라스 숨은 같았소아 태야 정배근세 배근세 마배근세 라스 숨은 같았소아 태야 정배근세 배근세 마배근세 Raza Sumunga Tesuha Jayata Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raza Sumunga Tesuha Jayata Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raza Sumunga Tesuha Teata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, laza sumungate soa. So we slowly just letting go of this visualization. The last drops of rainfall coming into us. And imagine that we're completely filled, completely saturated with this energy of healing. Just sit in, just for a few moments, being held by this energy of healing, letting our awareness fall back into space, holding everything as it arises. And we prepare to transition out of the practice. As we begin to do that, I invite you just to offer appreciation to all the different parts and elements of your practice, including offering appreciation to the earth, to the seeds, to our bodies, to our breath, to our minds, to our ancestors, to all the formless beings, including deities and spirits, to our teachers, mentors, guides, and gurus. Offering appreciation to medicine, Buddha, and this tradition of liberation. Offering appreciation to this community, this virtual community, the ways that our practice supports one another, even virtually. We offer appreciation back to ourselves for our diligence, our patience, our effort in practicing. As we move into Shantideva's prayer, we still want to just offer everything that we've accumulated in terms of karma, merit, and blessings out to all beings, that all beings may be liberated. We turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer, which we will recite 3 times together. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space, the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach to the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Thank you all so much for your practice tonight, or wherever you are today. Please join us again next Monday for practice, and just continue to come back and to watch the recordings and teachings and everything. They're here for us to come back to. Okay. Anything that you can offer in terms of donations to the Sangha is much appreciated as well. Um, and until we meet again, please take care of yourself. Please, after we finish up, just do some movement, some walking, get some water. If you do Reiki, if you do some energy practice, do some energy practice on yourself. Just take care of yourself. And I will see you um, again. Yeah. All right. Everyone, thank you. Happy Pride again as we finish up Pride. And be well, be fabulous, be free. All right. Thank you, everyone.